Adele Laurie Blue Adkins is a global phenomenon beloved for her powerhouse vocals, her deeply relatable lyrics about heartbreak and resilience, and her refreshingly down-to-earth personality. She is often portrayed as the quintessential girl's girl, a figure of warmth and humor in an industry rife with pretense. However, even the most genial of superstars can find themselves in the crosshairs of public disagreement, artistic criticism, or simple misunderstanding. While hate is far too strong a word for most of these scenarios, Adele is not known for holding petty grudges. Her career has featured moments of pointed critique, competitive friction, and candid disapproval. Based on public statements, industry gossip, and lyrical analysis, here are the 6 musicians with whom Adele has had the most notable public friction. To suggest Adele hates Beyoncé would be not only false, but arguably sacrilegious within pop culture. The truth is far more nuanced and fascinating. Adele is, by her own repeated admission, Beyoncé's biggest fan. She has publicly fangirled over Queen Bey for over a decade, calling her the most inspiring person I've ever had the pleasure of worshiping. The friction arises not from personal animosity, but from the immense, often uncomfortable pressure of competing directly with her idol. The apex of this tension was the 2017 Grammy Awards. Both megastars released era-defining albums, Adele's 25 and Beyoncé's Lemonade, and were pitted against each other in the Album of the Year category. In a shocking moment, 25 won. Adele's acceptance speech was not one of triumph, but of profound discomfort. On stage, in front of millions, she broke her trophy in half, symbolically at least, and declared, "I can't possibly accept this award. The artist of my life is Beyoncé." The Lemonade album was so monumental. She later elaborated backstage, stating she felt low. Lemonade was monumental, and so well thought out and so beautiful and soul-bearing. She felt her own win was a misstep by the Recording Academy, favoring traditional pop craftsmanship over Beyoncé's culturally significant masterpiece. This wasn't friction born of hate, but of Adele's immense respect for Beyoncé, creating an almost unbearable cognitive dissonance when she bested her. It was the friction of a devotee feeling her praise had been invalidated by an institution she couldn't control. In the late 2000s, as both Adele and Katy Perry were ascending to global stardom, a minor but notable rivalry was brewing, primarily stoked by their record labels. Both were young, talented women with massively successful albums. 19 for Adele, One of the Boys for Perry, and the media was eager to frame a narrative. Adele, never one to mince words, made a few pointed comments about Perry's brand of pop. She famously told Rolling Stone in 2011, "I don't want to be some skinny mini with my tits out. I don't want to make California Girls video. No offense." The reference to Perry's iconic candy-coated video was a clear shot across the bow, differentiating her own soulful, authentic image from what she perceived as Perry's more commercial, manufactured pop aesthetic. While this never escalated into a full-blown feud, it highlighted a genuine artistic friction. Adele was positioning herself as the antithesis of the hypersexualized dance pop star, and Katy Perry was, at that time, the embodiment of that very archetype. Time has softened this tension. Both have since expressed mutual respect, and Adele's comments are now viewed less as hate and more as a young artist fiercely defining her own lane in a competitive industry. This entry is perhaps the saddest and most complex, as it is entirely one-sided and rooted in deep admiration and tragic loss. Adele never hated Amy Winehouse. She credited her as the sole reason she pursued a music career. Seeing another normal-sized, beehived London girl sing about heartache with a jaw-dropping voice made Adele believe it was possible. The friction emerged from the immense pressure of being hailed as the next Amy Winehouse following Winehouse's tragic death in 2011. Adele was suddenly anointed as the torchbearer for a certain kind of British soul music, a role she never asked for and that came with a heavy crown of thorns. She spoke openly about the difficulty of this, feeling the weight of comparison and the grief of losing her idol. The friction was internal and external, a struggle with the narrative the media built around her. She had to navigate her own grief while being constantly asked about a woman she admired but never truly knew. In a way, Adele's friction was with Winehouse's ghost and the industry's desire to slot her into a vacancy created by a tragedy, a pressure that was both professionally immense and personally painful. This is a case of professional friction over credits and royalties. For her third album, 25, Adele and co-writer Greg Kurstin created the song Million Years Ago. Listeners and musicologists immediately noted its striking melodic and harmonic similarity to Uptown Funk, the mega hit by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars released a year prior. The situation became tense behind the scenes. According to industry reports, Ronson's camp quietly raised the issue, suggesting the songs were too similar for comfort. To avoid a potential lawsuit, Adele's team preemptively credited Jeff Basker, Philip Lawrence, and Bruno Mars, the co-writers of Uptown Funk, as songwriters on Million Years Ago, ensuring they received royal ties. While not a public spat, this created clear professional friction. For an artist like Adele, who prides herself on authentic songwriting, having to credit other artists for a song she believed was independently created must have been a frustrating and disagreeable experience. It was a clash of artistic ego versus legal pragmatism, and Adele's team chose the latter, creating a permanent, if quiet, link to a song she was accused of borrowing from too heavily. This is less about a single musician and more about a pervasive culture Adele has repeatedly and vocally rejected. Adele has never had kind words for the demanding, diva behavior that some major stars are known for. She has consistently used interviews to distance herself from this archetype, often making pointed, generalized criticisms that undoubtedly ruffled feathers within the industry. She has spoken derisively about artists who make extravagant backstage demands, writers, calling her own writer really boring. She's mocked the idea of having an entourage, famously bringing only 3 people to the Grammys. This overarching critique of arrogance and pretense is a form of friction with an entire class of celebrity, perhaps unnamed, but certainly heard. It's a philosophical rejection of the very ego her success could have justified, but it also serves as a subtle critique of those who do embrace that lifestyle. Ultimately, the person Adele has been most publicly at odds with is herself. Her entire discography is a testament to this internal friction. The struggle with heartbreak in 19, the anger and vengeance of 21, the nostalgia and regret of 25, and the introspective divorce processing of 30. Her interviews are filled with this self-critique. She has openly discussed her struggles with anxiety, insecurity about her body, and the immense pressure she puts on herself to create perfect art for her fans. Canceling the Las Vegas residency at the last minute in 2022 was the ultimate act of public friction with her own professional persona, a declaration that her personal well-being and artistic standards mattered more than the show simply going on. This internal battle is the core of her artistry. The hate or frustration she sometimes directs inward is what fuels the relatable pain in her music that millions adore. In conclusion, while Adele is not an artist known for bitter feuds or public vendettas, her career has been punctuated by moments of tension. These instances are not born of malice, but rather from a fierce dedication to her artistic integrity, an overwhelming sense of respect for her peers, and a profound, often public, journey of self-reflection. The friction, in every case, reveals more about her character. It is honest, principled, and deeply human.